Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to live in a communist-style, North Korean-style surveillance state where you have absolutely no private life whatsoever, here we go. We've got media people who used to be on the side of free speech and used to be leftist civil liberties. The media was never populated by people who had conservative values, but it used to be populated by people who believed in things like the ACLU and civil liberties and stuff. That's all gone now. The media is all in on the police state now. No, Dan, they're not. Really? The media that covered up for Spygate, the spying on illegally and illicitly against a private citizen, the president of the United States, the media that supported it? Here we go again, using the horror on Wednesday as a pretext to talk about the idea that, hey, maybe we should follow the post 9/11 path because that Patriot Act, Joe, worked out so well. Maybe we should follow the 9/11 model, which was a disaster with the Patriot Act. Maybe we should start looking into some more surveillance. Here's Nicole Wallace, noted anti-civil libertarian activist here, on proving it in this piece here. Here's noted anti-civil liberties activist Nicole Wallace on her show, suggesting to Spygate lawyer, which, one of the key figures in this, that maybe we should look into some, surveillance type models. This is just fascinating how the former civil liberties left. Like Nicole Wallace, a Republican. Hilarious, really funny. It's not. Check out Nicole Wallace. This should trouble you.
Can you just clarify where those lines are for long? I mean, I just working in the White House after 9/11, everything, and again, these policies are so controversial, so it's not a perfect parallel, but every policy that was pursued was to find out what the terrorists were saying, and we listened to them. That's what metadata was. I mean, knowing what they said online is just basic intelligence. Why wasn't a memo from Norfolk like that responded to with a show of force to protect against the occasion that came true? It turns out it did, but why isn't that the practice of the FBI?
Here we go, folks. Mainstream media hosts and MSNBC talking about like, hey, why aren't we engaged in these practices with the FBI, the whole surveillance? Maybe because we don't want to live in a surveillance state. Maybe I just want to be left alone if I haven't done anything wrong. I know, crazy idea. If you have probable cause that you think I've committed a crime or anyone around me, then go get a warrant. That's what we do. The Patriot Act was a disaster. We want to go down that road again? It still is a disaster. Has Spygate not taught us anything? That, as Lord Acton said, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Did we miss that? When you give people power to surveil people, they will abuse those powers. Why? Because that's what human beings do, and that's why we restrict those powers. Did we miss that? You think I'm making all this up, by the way? Like, no, I mean, gosh, the idea that the government would spy on a private citizen, future president, and may abuse future powers using the pretext of the horror on Wednesday to engage in mass surveillance against other people they politically disagree with. That had never happened. The technology isn't even there. Really? Look at this Wall Street Journal article. And there's one specific portion at the end where you're ding, 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 ding. Your antenna should be going up like, I'm not so comfortable where this is going. You have evidence that there was anyone involved in that attack on those Capitol Hill police officers and theft from the Capitol? Go for it. You got probable cause, get an arrest warrant, get a search warrant. That is what our constitutional republic authorizes you to do. But now you want to engage in what? Mass surveillance? Is anybody who attended that rally, the 99.999% of people who peacefully went down there, they're going to be subject to this? Look at this Wall Street Journal piece. The promise and peril of facial recognition. Agencies are using the technology to identify the Capitol rioters. There's a piece at the end that should deeply disturb you. Look at this. Quote, responsible private companies, such as banking and financial institutions, should be permitted to access facial recognition technologies. Here it is, Joe. Oh, to prevent identity theft and otherwise deter criminality. Yeah, okay. got a bank that can access these facial ID technologies. All of a sudden, they see you showed up at the White House. You were peaceful the entire time, calling for a review into the election, and all of a sudden, your bank has that. Don't worry. It's all about identity theft. The Orwell analogies are overused. This is worse. I don't even think Orwell understood how technology would be used in the future to target people for troublesome political beliefs. You happy about that? I'll get to more later. There's an article up on a left-leaning site from what I've seen from their work. It appears to be left-leaning, where a left-leaning, what appears to be, again, left-leaning author is like, hey, I'm not so sure this surveillance state we're moving to using pretexts like what happened Wednesday is really a good idea. If there was ever an article worth going to my show notes for, this one's it. But I want to cover some other stuff too. I want to get to just one final thing too. By the way, AOC is calling for a commission to evaluate the media. This is what we need. A former bartender elected to Congress now determining what media misinformation is. I don't think she's going to focus on the PP hoax disinformation or anything like that. Don't worry, folks. Lawmakers, commissions, that always ends well. Every time. That always ends well. Of course, I'm being sarcastic. They have learned nothing from Spygate. Nothing. Matter of fact, they're doubling down. Spying? Hell yeah. We need to set up media commissions too. And banking, facial ID. Don't worry, it's just for identity theft. Oh, financial institutions too. Try to get insurance? Yeah, we're going to go through our facial ID. Oh my gosh, we saw you at a Trump rally once. Yeah, you're a high risk for us. We're not going to give you. Wait, what? Liberals want, understand, it's not that liberals are fighting it. Liberals want this. They want you crushed, silenced, bankrupted, and not even be able to access the financial pipelines, which would render you impotent to stay alive and feed your family. They don't care. The totalitarian state has always been their dream. Now they have a pretext to do it.
You just heard Dan Bongino.